This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
It's Thursday night, and here on the iRacing Esports Network with a SimSpeed TV presentation, that means it is Dirt Speedway night. This is the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Power Series, the first round of a brand new season of high-octane dirt racing, taking you all around America and a couple of other places as well. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box is Cam Dance. And Cam, this track is going to learn you. We're at Lernerville Speedway for the 40-lap feud.
Yeah, an absolutely fantastic circuit, and it's going to be a fantastic night of racing, and in fact, a fantastic series in general. So, really, really looking forward to this. We've seen plenty of good racing in these 360s previously. So, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, looking forward to this one in particular. It's going to be a 40-lap A main at the end of this one, and it's going to be wonderful to see all these sprint cars going around this circuit. Not much of a wall to keep you hemmed in here at Lernerville Speedway. But of course, that is not the only track that we're going to be visiting this season. We've got a whole range of fantastic speedways that we are going to be visiting over the course of this season in the 360 Sprintcar Power Series. If I can get my words out, have a look at this. We visit Volusia Speedway twice. We've got one event on May 14th where the track is yet to be confirmed, but we run the whole gamut here, Cam. We're going to Fairbury, Knoxville, USA, Williams Grove, Lania. They're all here.
Yes, certainly. It's pretty much every single track you can think of is in the calendar. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of hard work for a lot of these drivers to sort of get their heads around going to pretty much every single dirt oval on the service instead of just the typical normal sort of Knoxville, Grove, Volusia, that sort of stuff. So, yeah, really, really looking forward to this and seeing what the racing is going to produce. Some of these, what you call quote-unquote oddball tracks that we don't usually go to.
Yeah, of which Lernerville is one of them, but proving to be very popular. The drivers are out there at the moment in their last few minutes of practice before we go into qualifying, which will set the grid for the features. But looking forward to seeing how this championship plays out. We're going to be racing pretty much every week for the next 12 weeks. And while we're here, a bit of a shout out to Bren Fraser and Luke Harwood. This is their first time watching an iRacing stream. So g'day, gents. We hope you enjoy the show tonight. Certainly going to be a good one.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's definitely a show you do not want to miss. Any of these weeks, actually, you don't want to miss because it's going to be some awesome racing all season long.
Yes, indeed. It's always a great way to go racing here on dirt ovals. It's short, it's sweet, it's fast, it's loud, and these 360 sprint cars, I think, are one of those cars that strikes a balance between being raceable and being hard to drive. They get their nomenclature from the number of cubic centimeters in their V8 engines, 360 cubic inches of V8 power. Maximum that a sprint car can go to is 410, but these ones slightly reduce power output, but it means that they're very raceable as well.
Certainly, you don't end up in a bucket of wheel spin every time you put the throttle down when you have that huge amount of power in the 410s. So, yeah, the 360s seem to be showing that they seem to be quite actually really good for the sort of racing that we've been seeing recently. And yeah, just one of those things that it's not all that usually that popular, but it seems to be striking that it seems to be the best racing.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of technique required to wheel one of these things around a track with the big wings, the big engines, not much keeping you the track other than that big old T-tray on top of the cockpit. So, as these final couple of minutes wind down, we'll take a bit of a look at the format. There's going to be 5 heat races of 12 cars each, 8 laps, and the top 3 from each heat goes straight through to the A main, but the top 2 from each heat go through to the pole shuffle, which is a bit of a new thing for this championship. Top 2 drivers from every heat go in, and they compete 4 at a time in 3-lap races to decide who gets pole position. And this is the thing, Cam, get this, pole position can decide whether or not to start on the inside or the outside come the A main.
Yeah, it's certainly one of those interesting things that you get to have a bit of line choice for where you're going to start in the A main. It's kind of one of those things here because normally you end up starting on the inside anyway. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what people end up doing, whether they decide to go high, whether they decide to go low. It's probably just going to come down to what the track does, and might see some differences in different tracks, but who knows? It's really going to mix it up.
Yeah, particularly here at Lernerville, the track banks up quite a bit in the final turn in the restart area, so it will be interesting to see how the drivers tackle that. But not only that, the pole sitter can choose to start 20th if they wish, and if they win from 20th, they get a bonus $100 in prize money thanks to this round's sponsor, thydesigns. Thank you very much, Ryan Harris, for putting your name onto this event. It's certainly fantastic to see that every round has a title sponsor in this series. Just fantastic. And it also means that the drivers get some prize money to race for. How good is that?
Yeah, really, really good. Bob's done an awesome job to get this series together along with Brady Bowen and sort of go out there and get all these sponsors on board. It's just really, really good to see. And yeah, looking forward to every single win. I bet the drivers are too, especially with that extra little bit of cash on the line.
Yeah, extra cash on the line is always nice. Well, this guy, Alex Bergeron, on screen at the moment, is one of the guys that has taken the most success in big Oz NZ dirt events. He's not from this part of the world, but he does like to make appearances in the dirt racing scene down here in the southern hemisphere. And last time we went to Lernerville in the 410s, he absolutely dominated.
Yeah, he certainly did. He did not leave anything on the table. Was sort of there or thereabouts to begin with at the start of the night and early in the feature, but yeah, really then showed his true colours come the later part of the race. So really looking forward to seeing what he can do. Plenty of pace, and he's shown it in the World Championship sort of stuff as well. So yeah, gonna be interesting to see whether he's gonna be as dominant as he is in the 14, or whether he's gonna have someone else sort of giving him a run for his money, whether it be Joel Berkeley, Tim Ryan, or anyone else.
Yeah, it's a stacked field here tonight, and we will highlight drivers as they come through. But it is time for qualifying now. Drivers only get 2 laps each. It's only 3 minutes that you have to set a representative time here at Lernerville Speedway. And we saw in practice the kinds of lines that drivers were working around the circuit. This is a very odd circuit, I reckon, by my standards at least, Cam, because you can see in this aerial shot here, there is no retaining wall around the track. If you go a bit too high in the turns, it's just whoop over the berm. See you, mate.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of those different tracks on the service. It doesn't have a concrete wall surrounding it the whole way around. You've pretty much got that banking, sort of a little bit of a lip, and then pretty much falling straight down the hill. And in real life, turn one you don't want to end up going over because it's a very big hill. So yeah, it's one of those very, very interesting tracks that sort of has made its way onto the service and has produced some really good racing and some interesting moments when people fall off the banking.
Yeah, which they do quite often because it turns out the fastest line is often riding the top. So you'll see drivers hanging the tail out, backing it into the turns, but the rear right will almost be hanging over that lip. It's a pretty crazy circuit. Fastest laps are now coming in. Jock Goodyear setting the fastest lap time of 13.991 so far. Still got Alex Bergeron to come out and set his time, so we'll see what he can do. Jock Goodyear with a good run in the World Series Sprint Cars just a couple of weekends ago at the Perth Motorplex. I was there and had the pleasure of watching him race in real life, as well as Tom Callahan as well. But Be interesting to see how he goes here in the sim events, and Alex Bergeron as well, using that low line. That's where he reckons the grip is at the moment, because you can see that groove that's formed all the way up at the top. It might be a bit more banked up the top, but there's definitely no grip there, and a lot of ruts forming in the track as well, making it a very bumpy ride for the drivers.
Yeah, most certainly. You can see all that black rubber that's right up on the top of the circuit from being laid down from just so much usage over the course of practice. But Bergeron to the top with a 13.892, so a little bit ahead of Josh Harm, who's actually put at P2 ahead of his teammate and Cruz McVee as well. So yeah, it's looking pretty close actually as far as times go.
Yes, indeed. Brenton Hobson's just come across the line to set his final time. He does not improve, so it's down 14.372 for Brenton Hobson. But Alex Bergeron taking the pole here with, it looks like, pretty much all the drivers that are going to set times have. So that'll pretty much confirm it with only 5 seconds to go in the session. Alex Bergeron starting on pole in his first heat. So setting the fastest lap time overall, Josh Harm and Tim Ryan, along with Cruz McVee and Josh Goodyear, all within a tenth of him, though. So it's going to be quite close when we get to the A main, but we've got to go through the heats first. And for this first heat, this is how things are going to stack up. Alex Bergeron and Jock Goodyear on the first row. Tim Ryan and John Schultz starting up on row 2. Dylan DeBono and Brenton Hobson make it 5th and 6th. And Nathan Norman and Travis Castagna are keeping each other company on row 4. Bradley Sanders and Hayden McCandy rounding out the top 10. Final 2 cars in this heat, Luke Sampson and Aaron Kelly. It's going to be a 12-car grid to start this night off, and I absolutely cannot wait, because Lernerville, we know what kind of racing it can produce. We see a lot of variance of lines and many brave moves.
Yeah, most certainly. We see plenty of risky mistakes as well that do not pay off, unfortunately, with drivers falling over the berm. So, yeah, really looking forward to seeing what we're going to see in this first heat with a pretty reasonable field as well. You could probably not count out the top 10 actually on possibly winning it if anybody makes any mistakes or anything. So, will be interesting. And like you said, top 3 do go straight through to the feature. The rest will have to duke it out in the alphabet soup and the DNC and B main. So we'll see who goes through and whether we see possibly anybody other than the 2 on the front row go through to the pole shuffle.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta keep that in mind, because yes, you can get to the A main if you finish on the podium, but it's only 2nd and 1st that get through to that final, I guess, race within a race to determine who starts on pole position for the 40-lap feud here at Lernerville Speedway, and presented by thydesigns. Every round with a title sponsor in this championship, and I look forward to reading off those names as we go on through the season. And certainly with a field like this, it's going to be a fantastic series. Seeing drivers just running normally, double file behind the pace truck, not worrying too much about keeping the rubber off their tires, but the pace truck is going to pull in now, up over the hill, and now the field is under the control of Alex Bergeron. Jock Goodyear running very close to him. The iRacing green flag is out, and we are racing for the first heat. Goodyear really pushing Bergeron down the front stretch, and have a look at the Clint Shane Smith car up into 3rd place already, making his way past Brenton Hobson. Excellent stuff to see. A little bit of jostling in the back though. Luke Sampson with a bad run off the final turn, and car number oh goodness me, Clint Smith, he's off and over the berm, and that's Jock Goodyear over and onto his roof. A bit of contact between them. Unfortunately, that is going to put paid to potentially both Goodyear and Smith's night.
Yeah, not a good start at all. Just looked like a simple mistake by Clint to get on the throttle a little bit early and just ended up understeering straight into Jock, unfortunately. So, bit of a rough night so far to the start, but at the moment, it's pretty clean as far as everybody else goes.
Yeah, Dylan DeBono managing to survive all of that, and he is now in 2nd place. It's a huge battle for 3rd place in the final transfer spot into the A main, though. Nathan Norman holds onto that position at the moment, but Brenton Hobson and Bradley Sanders trading places behind him. Sanders looking quite hungry. He'll be wanting to grab that spot quick sharp. Only got a couple of laps to go as they start lap 6, 3 to go.
This race is absolutely flying by. Not that big of a racetrack, so laps will continue to fly by very, very quick. So it's one of these things around this track that you really have to make sure that you get yourself ahead of everybody as quickly as you possibly can and don't waste any time.
Yeah, well, certainly not wasting any time as Alex Bergeron as we see problems for John Schultz. But Bergeron is holding quite the lead here, and it's white flag for him. It looks like it's going to be a pretty comfortable victory here for Alex Bergeron. He just started at the front and did not look back, using that low line to his advantage. So Alex Bergeron takes the first win of the night in Heat 1. Dylan DeBono and Nathan Norman are your podium. So Bergeron and DeBono through to the pole shuffle. Nathan Norman has a spot in the A main.
Yeah, bit unfortunate for Hobson and Sanders, who probably were actually on their way to get into that top 3 as well. So really unfortunate, but I'm sure they'll be able to recover nicely and get into that A main.
Well, we're going straight through then into Heat 2 as the results scroll by on your screen. Heat 2, Josh Harm is starting on pole. Jason Nygaard is going to join him on the first row. It's going to be Lewis Hewitt and Harry Stewart on row 2. Devin Butts and Callum Davidson, 5th and 6th place. Aston Hurley and Trent Gosley keeping each other company on row 4. Matt Reed and Kyle Hazel rounding out the top 10. Last 2 cars are Zach Howell and Alex Gouveia. So it's going to be another interesting field here. A lot of drivers that I personally have not seen much of in dirt racing, but I have seen Lewis Hewitt and Devin Butts and Trent Gosley strut their stuff out on the clay. So be interesting to see what they can do from here.
Yeah, most certainly it will. And pretty much some number of these drivers have actually been in that previous 14 race that we hosted not too long ago. But yeah, really, again, another solid field. So it could be anybody's race, really.
Yeah, certainly could. Josh Harm is going to be the one leading them away when the pace truck pulls in. And only 1 lap left of pacing before we get going for the second heat of the night. And you see a few drivers running quite high up the top there of the berm. Quite interesting to see, you know, the drivers maybe just testing what the ruts are like down on the groove. With all that compacted clay, it ends up becoming a very unstable ride around a track like this.
Yeah, it most certainly does. And there's a lot of loose dirt up there through 3 and 4 as well. So they'll probably be trying to clear that a little bit just so they can get an idea of how slick it really is instead of just driving through the dirt and ending up possibly over the edge.
Well, green flag flies and Josh Harm is going to lead them away. It's a pretty even start, though. And Jason Nygaard sticking with him. Have a look at some contact already. That's car 47, Devin Butts, making contact with, I believe that was Lewis Hewitt or Callum Davidson. Oh, goodness me. Looks like a bit of 4-wide action going on in the very back of the field. Kyle Hazel, Devin Butts, Matt Reed, Zach Howell, and Alex Gouveia. The back half of your field fighting incredibly hard here. But up the top, it's a huge, huge fight. Josh Harm is still leading, but Lewis Hewitt making his way up into second, getting pressured by Jason Nygaard and Harry Stewart, running side by side here. Now Stewart holds 3rd place. This is going to be it's almost going to be a 5-way battle now. Here comes Callum Davidson.
Yeah, everybody's getting up there, and that top side is really, really showing how strong it is at the moment. Hewitt just driving around the outside of his teammate and everybody else, and Nygaard's starting to follow him through. So it's going to be a 3-way fight for 2nd place and 3rd place even at this rate, with the number of cars that are starting to figure out that top line is really, really quick. But Josh Harm coming under a lot of pressure from Harry Stewart. It's running the bottom, but Harmy getting up in that mid-line.
Oh, Hewitt!
Hewitt's over.
Oh, that's a big crash there into the wall out of the final turn and on his side. His race is over. Potentially his night is over if he can't come back in the DCB main, wherever he ends up. But it's almost race's end. 2 laps to go. Josh Harm just holding on here from Harry Stewart. Jason Nygaard and Callum Davidson almost getting together in the middle of turn 1. Callum Davidson with a huge run manages to get in just ahead. Josh Harm only just holding off Stewart here, and Stewart getting a bad run off the final turn, only just running over the lip. Final lap now and one turn to go. Harm seems to have it, but can Stewart force one up the inside? Have a look at the number 39. He gives it a red hot go, but Jason Nygaard will not get a spot in the A main. It's going to be Josh Harm, Harry Stewart, and Callum Davidson advancing.
Yeah, big last lap ditch effort there by Nygaard to try and get into third position, but not quite in the end. So really good racing by pretty much that whole top 5 group. So looking forward to what this next heat has.
Yes, indeed. Results there on screen. It's a shame about Lewis Hewitt and Devon Butts. They could certainly have competed up the top there. But this is a very fast-moving night. We're instantly into Heat 3. And starting on pole is Logitech G Altus Esports' Tim Ryan. He's joined on the first row by Ethan Bastian and Bradley Oldfield. That is a very familiar name in third place, sharing the second row with Damian Rasmussen. Lachlan Horton and Tyler Bish in fifth and sixth. Kyron Redpath and Clayton Davies on the next row. Corey Steinhauser for Speedway Memes Racing starts in ninth place. 10th and 11th, Lockie Beatty and Sean Wilson. It's slightly reduced by one car from the fields we've had before, but this is still going to be an excellent race, especially with the likes of Oldfield, Bastian, and Ryan in this field.
Yeah, it certainly is. Probably can't discount any of that top 5. Can be, yeah, from previous races, it's anyone's guess as to who's going to take this out. Probably Tim's going to run away with this, but who knows?
Yeah, that's the question that we have to ask. I mean, Tim Ryan, he's certainly shown that he knows how to do dirt racing in the sim world. He is actually a World of Outlaws iRacing champion, a world champion. So quite the talent under that particular bonnet. But we'll have to wait and see how it goes, because we did see Lewis Hewitt definitely in contention, but one false move can put you right out of it.
Yeah, certainly can. And it's just easily over just like that because of how on the limit you have to be up on that top side. So, yeah, it's really probably going to be all about just trying to get through to that top 3 for a lot of these drivers. And for the quicker guys, trying to get into that top 2 just to be in that pole shuffle.
Ethan Bastian and Tim Ryan almost banging wheels as we prepare to go racing. Green flag is out and we are away. That is a nice smooth start from Tim Ryan, just covering off second place, but getting into the dirt, and that is a spin there, I believe, for Ethan Bastian, and he is at the back of the field, right at turn 1. Corey Steinhauser stuck up at the back too as they go 4 wide. Quite interesting down the front stretch. 4 wide again into turn 2. Damian Rasmussen, Tyler Bish, Lachlan Horton, and Kieran Redpath involved in that one. Tyler having a bit of trouble keeping up the momentum through the mid-corner, but looks like Tim Ryan kind of running away with this at the moment, but Bradley Oldfield is creeping up on him.
Yeah, Oldfield seems to be giving him a solid run for his money. It does Bradley. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether he can possibly put a bit more pressure on Tim here. But at the moment, that battle for what is pretty much the final transfer spot all going off. There's about 3 to 4 different cars who are all really within the shot of getting this. But Rasmussen at the moment leading Horton, Bish, and Davies. And in the back there's Sean Wilson as well. So a number of cars can take advantage of someone's mistake here.
Yeah, number of cars indeed. Rasmussen holding that lower line pretty well in turn 1, but you going all the way up onto the berm at the exit. Oh no! Oh no! There we go. Lachlan Horton into the wall and taking the number 41 potentially with him there. And this has really mixed things up for the battle for third place. Lachlan Horton is not able to find a place to go here, and Sean Wilson now finds himself in position 4. But is he close enough to Rasmussen? They'll only have 1 lap to go next time by. And let's have a look at our top 2 briefly. Tim Ryan and Brad Oldfield taking the white flag. They are quite close.
Yeah, that gap hasn't really increased at all between Oldfield and Ryan. So really looking like we could possibly have a really good race on our hands between those 2 later in the A main.
That was a very close finish there. But it looks like Tim Ryan only just managed to keep that win there from Bradley Oldfield, and Damian Rasmussen finishing on the podium there. Unfortunately, Sean Wilson could not catch up to him, but that was an incredible battle for 4th place. Here's the results before we go to Heat 4.
Yeah, certainly. Tim Ryan with the win over Bradley Oldfield, followed by Damien Rasmussen rounding out the top three to go through the automatic transfers. Just outside of that transfer, Sean Wilson, Clayton Davies, Tyler Bish, and Kyron Redpath, followed by Lockie Beatty, Ethan Bastian, Corey Steinhauser, and Lockie Horton. So next heat, Heat 4, looking like it's a pretty reasonable field.
Yes, indeed. And Cruz McVie is going to start on the pole for this one, joined by Joel Berkeley on the front row. Ryan Harris starting in third place, and Gavin Sadler joining him on row 2. Brad O'Brien starts in fifth, Hayden Veld joining him in sixth. Scott Butler and Dale Jordison on the next row. Bradley Minchell and Carl Hoffman's rounding out the top 10. And in 11th place, Danny Vassell. It'll be interesting to see what he can do from here, because it looks like this is going to be the final heat of the night before we get into the C main.
Yeah, certainly going to be probably. In fact, you could probably nearly say any one of these drivers could win this race, actually. So, yeah, really looking forward to seeing who's possibly going to take these positions out.
Yeah, well, we know definitely Cruz McVie having some good talent under him. Joel Berkeley, Gavin Sadler, Hayden Veld, Danny Vassell as well, showing some great pace in sprint cars and in dirt racing in general. But it's going to be Cruz McVie who leads the field away on this one, and the pace truck coming in at the end of this lap. And in another 8 laps' time, we'll find out how the majority of the field stacks up for the A main, but we've still got the possible D and a C and B main, plus the pole shuffle to go. Pace truck enters the pit lane once again, and Cruz McVie assumes control of the field here. Green flag flies, and away they go. Not a great start from McVie, actually. Joel Berkeley is in the lead as they come across the line, but McVie with the inside line tries to get it back from him. But have a look at Joel Berkeley's run on that outside line. Looks like he's making it work really well, and McVie in a little bit of trouble there. Oh, and he's around. Goodness me, big crash there in the back of the field. So McVie on his side after that, after starting pole. That will hurt.
Yeah, not exactly the most ideal start for Cruz, unfortunately. Just got a little bit loose on
Scott
the
Butler.
exit turn 4 and another.
Oh, goodness me. Scott Butler spun around there. He's able to get going again, but he's way back now. Joel Berkeley is your race leader. Gavin Sadler trying to catch up to him, but Hayden Veld with the mother of all runs around the outside. He's making the top work beautifully there. Contact with Gavin Sadler, and he has been set back quite a bit. There's a little bit looser rules for contact, though, in dirt racing, so they can still go. Have a look at Berkeley, making sure that he has that run off the outside. That, I think, is the key to the speed with the way the track is at the moment.
It most certainly is. Rip the lip at the moment, as Berkeley is definitely showing here, but it's going to be very, very difficult to do that for 40 laps straight and come the features. One of those things where it's risk versus reward sometimes in the heats. It's probably better to sort of put a bit of risk on the line, but at the same time he's got a solid lead at this point, so he probably doesn't want to make a mistake anytime soon.
Yeah, Joel Berkeley will just be in maintain mode at the moment. Doesn't want to make too many mistakes there. You can see just how much he's running the edge of that lip, and that is incredibly hard to do in a car with this level of downforce at that level of speed. No changes for position, though, in the top 3, and it is the final lap. So Berkeley gets through into the A main and the pole shuffle. Joining him in the pole shuffle is going to be Hayden Veld with a fantastic second place. And Ryan Harris gets third in the end, finishing where he started. He will have a position in the A main. Gavin Sadler only just missing out.
Yeah, pretty solid run there by the top 4. Another actually really good run by Danny Vassell as well to end up where he did from pretty much dead last all the way into the top 5. So really, really good run from him there. But D-Main up next, so go through the good for this one.
Yep, launching right into it. And Hayden McCandy is going to start on pole for the D main. Zach Howell and Corey Steinhauser line up second and third. These are the guys that were the unlucky ones in the heats. They get another bite at the cherry to try and get into the next main, but only the top 2 will get through. Cruz McVee in 4th, Clint Smith 5th, Alex Gouveia, Lachlan Horton, Bradley Minshall, Aaron Kelly, and Lewis Hewitt round out your 10-car field for the D main, and it is going to be a 10-lapper this one.
Yeah, few more laps than what we had in the heats. So 2 extra laps to try and get a move done. But that said, top 2 are the only ones to go through to the next main. So yeah, it's going to really be a tough job for the drivers like Lewis Hewitt, Aaron Kelly, and those sort of drivers. But same time, I don't think they'll have too many problems getting through the field rather quickly.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see because you can see that groove at the entry to turn 1 has widened to cover pretty much the entire width of the track through turns 1 and 2. So there's going to be no grip there at all.
Yeah, it's definitely going to require quite a bit of throttle control to sort of modulate the power and modulate the wheel spin as well, so that you don't end up going round and round in circles or ending up clipping someone. So it's going to be tricky, but at the same time, everybody's got a fair idea of how to drive these cars. So should be on for some interesting racing, and be interesting to see what people have done possibly with their setup, and whether some people are still struggling with a little bit of looseness, or whether people have gone a bit too tight. It's one of those things on these sort of conditions where it's not super slippery, but it's not super grippy either. It's in between where you don't want it to be, really.
Yeah, car setup is incredibly important in dirt speedway racing, and in the sim world, that is certainly the case as well. Well, Hayden McCandy lines up, and we have the green flag, and away we go, and that is a bad start there for the 2nd place runner. Oh my goodness, Zach Howell right off into the weeds, starting from 2nd place, but the rest of the field continues on. No caution in these races. Corey Steinhauser now making a move into 1st place. It's a 6-way battle for the lead at the moment. Look at these guys, 4 wide, 5 wide, where do you go?
There's cars everywhere, but Lewis Hewitt from dead last all the way through to the first, around the outside of everyone. So clearly masses of pace, and look at the gap he will.
Yeah, okay, so Lewis Hewitt telling the world, I deserved to win that heat, and now I'm just going to drive away from everybody just to show what I can do. But the battle for 2nd is really on. Remember, this is the final transfer spot into the next main. Clint Smith currently holds on to that 2nd place, but Cruz McVee, Corey Steinhauser, and Lockie Horton are driving very hard to try and claim it. McVee trying around the outside, making sure that he has as much grip under him as possible, but he's not finding much up there on the berm. Clint Smith making that bottom line work very well at the moment.
Yeah, Clint's doing a really good job to keep the grip. There is a little bit of grip on the exit of 4 as well, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the race to the line as the 92 of Lockie Horton tries to get in there, but not. You can see Cruz McVee really struggling up there at the moment. That bottom seems to have a lot of grip on the exit of turn 4 at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. That bottom of turn 4, lots of grip at their disposal there. Clint Smith still just holding on to 2nd place here, but Cruz McVee is absolutely launching his car into the turns to try and stay with him. Lockie Horton trying his best to stay with them. Corey Steinhauser's dropped off the back of these guys. Clint Smith still holding it down on the inside, but Cruz McVee trying his best here to maintain outside momentum, and they make contact. McVee was right ahead of Smith at the time, so he manages to get position 2, but his run has been compromised. Lachlan Horton tries to come in, and it's now a 3-way battle for 2nd again, and it's white flag this time by Lockie Horton, just takes it for now. Up the front, Lewis Hewitt is going to take an absolutely dominant victory here in the D main. He's going to go through, and it looks like Cruz McVee has just managed to not. Oh, goodness me. Lachlan Horton managed to get 2nd place there, driving away there from Clint Smith, who just managed to hold off.
Yeah, he had a massive run through turn 2 on that last lap and just pulled away, and then fortunately, Cruz just sort of fell back by the wayside at the end there in the final 2 corners. So really unfortunate for him. But yeah, gonna be something to next May, because that track's really starting to come to life at the top.
Yeah, it certainly is. So that was your grid there for the C main. Matt Reed on pole with Kieran Redpath joining him on the front row. Brad O'Brien and John Schultz third and fourth. Devin Butts and Lockie Beattie trying their best from fifth and sixth. Carl Hoffmans and starting in eighth, this is the guy that we'll probably be looking at the most, Jock Goodyear, and of course Lewis Hewitt and Lockie Horton taking up the final two spots, and they are joined by Carl Hazel, Ethan Bastian, and Scott Butler. So 13-car field for a 12-lap race.
Yeah, so 2 extra laps this time for everybody that transferred through from the D main to sort of get their way through the field, but at the same time that's to get a little bit more worn as well. So it's gonna be interesting because drivers are gonna have to be aware of that this track's really starting to get quite slick, and it's just only gonna get worse from here.
It certainly is, but you get an interesting view of the entry to the circuit here, and a little view of the lip as well. It's quite challenging coming out of the pits area onto the racetrack because you got to go over the lip at turn 4. It gives you a bit of a bump as you go over. But the drivers are now out on that very slick track at the moment, and the only thing they'll be worrying about is how much grip is at their disposal. So the pace truck is now in. Matt Reed controls the field for the C main. The top 2 from this one go through to the B main. See how it works out. Green flag is out. Off they go. And it's a clean start from the entire field now. But as they come into turn 1, a bit of jostling back at the pack, and that is the number 76 around. That was 78, sorry. That's John Schultz, and he's made contact again. And over the berm he goes. John Schultz with an absolutely horror start to this C main. But Jock Goodyear now through to the lead and doing the slide job to block off the advances of Matt Reed.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. His Jock, he's managed to get up a few positions, and he's now in the lead of the race. So really good position, but at the same time, Matt Reed's not letting this get the moment on that bottom.
Yeah, Lockie Beattie, unfortunately, with a spin, and Matt Reed not letting go of the bottom at all. Looks like they're very slow off there. Brad O'Brien getting checked up, and that's caused a further incident. Scott Butler on his side. Not the first time that's happened to him tonight. Brad O'Brien involved too. And it's on for second. Devin Butts, who unfortunately had an awful run in the heats, fighting for second place here with Matt Reed. So it's going to be the last chance that these guys get to go through into the B main. Jock Goodyear sitting pretty at the moment. He's driving away, but it's a big battle for second behind.
Yeah, most certainly is. It's 2 cars at the moment between Butts and Reeds, but at the same time, you can have Bastian and Hewitt coming up real quick, and they're trying to find their way past the best they Hewitt and Bastian have been side by side for the last few laps, nearly 3 wide through turn number 2. It's all going off between these 4.
Yeah, Hewitt trying that inside, as is Matt Reed. He gets the move done briefly on Devin Butts, but Butts coming back at him. And it's very easy to do at a track like Lernerville. Oh, have a look at Hewitt. That was incredibly close. Just hurling it into the turn.
Yeah, surprised he didn't actually make contact. If he did, it was only just minutely with Matt Reed, so very lucky to not end up with more damage there or possibly a bigger incident. But at the moment he's really having a hustle out to try and get past the likes of Devin Butts and catch up to Matt Reed. But at the moment, Reed's off and into the side.
Yeah, Lachlan Horton and Ethan Bastian involved in that as well. That's their chance gone. Big shame for those guys, but Devin Butts and Lewis Hewitt are now battling for second place here, and Hewitt, well, we know what he can do. It's the last lap. It's going to be the last lap next time by. Lewis Hewitt just holding on to second place here. Looks like Devin Butts' chances may be finished. White flag for our race leader, Jock Goodyear. He's had an absolutely dominant run in this one, got to the front quickly, and was able to make good use of that clear air up the front. So he is going to take a dominant victory here for Slick Sim Sport. He is through into the B main, and so is Lewis Hewitt, as Devin Butts has a spectacular crash across the line. He still finishes third, though.
Yeah, managed to jump the cushion a bit and just ended up somehow landing back on his wheels after doing a few rolls, ended up third. So yeah, really unfortunate for him there, but really, really good racing regardless.
Indeed, and there are the results. And Bradley Sanders is going to be on pole here for the B main. This is the last race before we get to the pole shuffle and the feature for tonight in the Ty Designs 40-lap feud. Sanders and Nygaard on the front row, joined by Sean Wilson and Gavin Sadler behind. Hobbo88, Brenton Hobson joins Trent Gosley on the second row. Clayton Davies and Danny Vassell, 7th and 8th. Travis Castagna and Aston Hurley, interesting matchup there on the 5th row. Tyler Bish and Dale Jordison, 11th and 12th. And in this 15-car field, we're rounded out by Luke Sampson and our top two from the previous main, Jock Goodyear and Lewis Hewitt. How far will they get up the field in this one, I wonder?
Probably to the front.
Most likely.
That said, yeah, most likely. But at the same time, only the top 8 go through anyway. So getting to those top 2 is not necessarily there, but there's still a lot of cars to pass regardless. And I did actually think Brenton Hobson was in 6th just before, so the meme nearly continued, but it was one position too many, unfortunately. So, yeah,
shucks.
not quite a bit of a string there, but regardless, this is going to be a really good race.
Yeah, it certainly is. Looking forward to this one. 14 laps, this one, the B main. And as Cam said, the top 8 go through into the A main and will be guaranteed a spot in the feature tonight. So one more lap under caution, prepping for this one, and then we'll go racing once more at Lernerville Speedway. You can see how wide that slick groove of compacted clay is. There's almost nowhere to find grip in turns 1 and 2, but a very clear dichotomy of lines through 3 and 4. We'll see how the drivers handle that and who goes for which section of the track. Bradley Sanders going right up to the top there and coming back down as the green flag flies. A nice straight run, but it's going to be a better start from Jason Nygaard, who takes the lead, and Sanders almost falling back to 3rd because Sean Wilson is trying to stake his claim there. No, he's not. Gavin Sadler is going to try and go through here into 2nd place. It's a big jostle in the pack behind, though, and it's going to be contact between Sean Wilson and, oh goodness, Brenton Hobson involved in a huge pile up there. They go over the lip at turn 1, and they are done. Brenton Hobson gets going again, but Aston Hurley and Dale Jordison will be cursing their luck right now.
Certainly will. It was really unfortunate for them, and it was just a matter of a car clipping the outside wall and bouncing back out of it. So it's one of those things, unfortunately, in dirt racing you can't really control. But at the moment, the battle for the lead going on between Sadler, Nygaard and Sanders, and there's absolutely nothing in it. And you're going to have a couple of cars coming up through the field as well, because here comes Goodyear and Hewitt. They're up a few positions already inside that top 8.
Yeah, well, they're basically guaranteed a spot in the A main now, but there's nothing preventing them from moving forward. Nygaard just got into the wall a little bit on the exit of turn 4. He'll want to watch that. Gavin Sadler working that top line very... Oh, goodness me, who's that going off? That's Sanders. That was our leader. So he's off now and all the way back down outside the top 8. So his chance at getting into the B main is gone if no one else makes a mistake. Oh, Sean Wilson making contact again with Clayton Davies, and that has taken Travis Castagna out as well. Both of those guys having to recover now.
Yeah, and Hobbo's back to 10th now because of all these drivers making mistakes. So he's nearly within a shot of making it back into the transfer spots into the feature at this.
Yeah, well, currently holding that transfer spot is Tyler Bish in the number 41. And Luke Sampson and Brenton Hobson fighting hard for that last position in the top 10. And you'll see Tyler Bish there, the second car ahead of Brenton Hobson, just making his way through turn 4 right now. So it's on here for Hobson, 14-lap race, so he'll have 5 laps left now to get this done. Up the front, Jason Nygaard, he's holding a huge lead, but the battle for second, absolutely scintillating right now. Trent Gosley holding off Vassell, Hewitt, and Sadler. Jock Goodyear trying to join this party as well. Gavin Sadler trying his best to hold the inside versus Hewitt, but Hewitt just getting the better exit for now.
Look, Hewitt seems to know where the grip is quite well and seems to be using it to his advantage to sort of close the gap and get by these drivers at the moment. Seems that the midline sort of, but it kind of doesn't at the same time. So he's done a really, really good job of managing the grip that he's got underneath him and reeling in the drivers ahead of him. But at the moment, Gosley's coming under a lot of pressure and a big slide job from Hewitt.
Whoa.
Up the inside, is he going to hold on? Yes, he is. So he will get into second here.
Oh, yeah, and he'll try and hold that outside, but Trent Gosley trying his best to hold the inside. You see Lewis Hewitt just get on the throttle and blast away. There's a nice amount of grip there right up on the lip, and Hewitt is making that work perfectly. White flag, meanwhile, for our race leader, Jason Nygaard. He has been almost untroubled for most of this race, and a little bit of luck on his side as well, but he will surely taste the sweet taste of this victory. Lewis Hewitt will finish in second place, and in third, Trent Gosley. Danny Vassell. Oh! Sanders nearly drafting up to the back of Tyler Bish and getting into that 8th spot, but he just misses out on the transfer into the A main. That's a shame.
Yeah, that was so close. And he had a massive run around the outside, but not quite, unfortunately, in the end.
Well, now we move forward to the pole shuffle as we take a look at the results here from the B main. Nygaard, Hewitt, and Gosley, your podium. Top 8 rounded out by Tyler Bish. Everyone in front of him is through into the A main. It's a shame for Bradley Sanders and Brenton Hobson. They certainly had the pace to get in there for sure.
Yeah, they certainly did. There was a number of drivers who could have easily actually made it through, but just that unfortunate bit of bad luck that sometimes happens ended up being the only.
Well, now it is time for the pole shuffle, and making their way out onto the circuit are the first drivers that will be competing. So it goes 10, 9, 8, 7. The top drivers from the last 2 heats. And the top 2 move forward into the next race where they compete with the 6th and 5th ranked drivers, and so on and so forth with 3rd and 4th and 1st and 2nd. That's how it's going to work for this one. So your field is going to be Dylan DeBono on pole with Harry Stewart, Bradley Oldfield, and Hayden Veld joining him. It's going to be a 3-lapper this one. They are away, and Dylan DeBono holding the lead pretty nicely here, but we'll have to keep a lookout for Harry Stewart. We know how fast he is, and right there, he goes for it, getting what would have been first place, but turns into second, because Bradley Oldfield is holding on to the lead here. 1 lap complete, and already we're seeing a big fight for those top 2 transfer spots into the next round of the pole shuffle. It is between Harry Stewart and Dylan DeBono right now as they cross the line on lap 2. Bradley Oldfield leads, and it looks like Harry Stewart is going to get away with this.
Yeah, he might just do there on the last lap now, but I don't think Stewart's going to just have enough momentum to get on by. So Harry Stewart and Oldfield will indeed be the transfer.
And there we go. They will stay on track, I believe, and the next 2 drivers will make their way out onto the circuit, and we will find out who they are very shortly. One of them is Joel Berkeley for Slick Sim Sport. The second is Tim Ryan for Altus Esports. So some big dirt teams here making their appearances. How will they go against Stewart and Oldfield?
Yeah, it's probably given that they'll probably put on a show between each other, but who knows? It seems these 4 in fact all a pretty strong moment with pace, so really going to be interesting to see what comes of this race and who possibly ends up going through.
Well, it's going to be Tim Ryan on the pole for this little skirmish, and it's going to be another 3-lapper, and the top 2 from this one advance through to the next round. So Tim Ryan, hard on the throttle there at the bollard, and holding on to that lead, but it's a big fight there, 3-way fight on the bottom for that first place. Looks like Harry Stewart just hanging back for now, but Bradley Oldfield wasting no time trying to get up through to that first spot. And there goes Tim Ryan through into the lead. It looks like it's going to be between Brad Oldfield and Tim Ryan for this one.
Most certainly is. Tim in the front at the moment, but Stewart's there or thereabouts on the white flag now. So it's going to be a three-way fight for this lead, but Tim Ryan round the outside. Look at Berkeley coming. If he can keep this momentum up in the turn 3 and 4, he might just have this, but is it going to be...
Nearly.
Quite.
Oh! Only just missing out. So Bradley Oldfield advancing through to the next round, and Tim Ryan as well. But I reckon Oldfield will be especially happy with that because he was one of those first guys out. They're going to be joined now by Alex Bergeron and Josh Harm for the next round of the pole shuffle. This is going to be the third of 4.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really good fight, this one. Again, another solid 4-car field here for this pole shuffle. It's probably going to be in favor of Bergeron, but then again, you've got Tim Ryan and Oldfield is pretty decent pace, so we'll see what he can do here against these other 3 in this one.
Yeah, well, interesting to see what Josh Harm can do as well, because we know he's got a good car under him, a good amount of pace, did very well in the heats as well. Actually, heat 2, pole and win for Josh Harm, so he knows what winning feels like. But of course, so do all the guys in this field, so be interesting to see who is in the top 2 when we get to the end of this one. Lap 1 is green. And nothing doing for the moment. Nice and calm start. Josh Harm sticking to that outside, but Alex Bergeron wasting no time in eking out the gap. Now it's Harm versus Ryan versus Oldfield for that second spot.
Yeah, running that top side, doing a really, really good job to hold off Tim Ryan, but Tim Ryan seems to have a little bit of a pace advantage. Slide job to the top, take that second position. White flag here this time by is Harm going to manage to get the position back? Not quite. And Tim Ryan is unfortunately going to drive it around the outside, but Oldfield really thereabouts, but not quite able to get the move done on Josh Harm. So Tim Ryan and Alex Bergeron will be the 2 transferees.
Well, there we go. It was a good run there from Bradley Oldfield. Managed to last a few rounds, but unfortunately, he is done for tonight. So Tim Ryan and Alex Bergeron move forward into the final round of the pole shuffle. This is going to decide who gets pole position, and for a bonus, they'll get to decide which side of the grid they start on for this A main.
Yeah, I believe that was indeed the pole shuffle. So
okay. My
got a
apologies.
warm-up on now.
Yeah, it looks like I had my schedule messed up a little bit. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like that is going to be Alex Bergeron starting on pole. The question is, will he start on the inside or the outside? Still haven't quite received word of that, and we've got to remember the thydesigns challenge as well. Bergeron could potentially start in 20th for a shot at $100 cash.
Yeah, most certainly could have $100 in his back pocket if he opts to go ahead with that little challenge that the competition has been set up with. So see what happens, but regardless, it's going to be an awesome race.
Yeah, certainly is. The 40-lap feud presented by thydesigns, of course. A big thanks to thydesigns for jumping on board and supporting this series. We also want to send a big shout out to Bob King, Oceanic Dirt Sim Events. He's done a huge amount of work for the dirt racing community in Oz NZ. We also got to thank Brady Baldwin as well, who we recently did the Stay Strong Gold Cup for. Brady suffering some very serious injuries in a real-life speedway crash, and we wish him all the best on his continued recovery. He's still not out of the woods yet, is Brady, but still putting the time and effort in to get this event together for us, as is Bob King. We appreciate your efforts, guys. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, most certainly. The work that Bob and Brady have done for numerous events for the Oz NZ community is absolutely awesome to see, and for them to continue their support and putting on these awesome sort of series and events is just really, really good to see. So where it is due, and yeah, really looking forward to this one to see what plays out.
And the best thing is that we're going to be doing this every single week for the next couple of months. Bombshell announcement has just come in. We were talking about the thydesigns challenge. If you decide to start 20th on the when you're the pole sitter and you win, you get $100. Alex Bergeron has decided to take that challenge. He won't be starting on the front row for this. I am really interested to see if he'll be able to get back up to the top step by the end of the 40-lap feud, because that would be a very sweet $100 check.
Yeah, most certainly would put $100 cash in your back pocket, and after some what would be early morning racing for him, it's something about 3 or 4 a.m. for him, I think. So it's pretty early in the morning, but he'll probably be able to put on a solid performance regardless.
Yeah, that's it. Alex always putting in the hard yards to stay up or get up nice and early to race with us down here in Oceania. And finally, the checkered flag is going to fly on this warm-up session, and we're going to get ready for the thydesigns 40-lap feud, the first round of the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Sprint Car Power Series. We are ready. It's going to happen, and this is going to be your grid. Alex Bergeron not going to start on pole, but Josh Harm and Tim Ryan will be starting in second and third, I believe. But hold on a minute. I just started reading off those times automatically. It's not going to work out that way. My apologies, everyone. Bit of autopilot there, Cam.
Yeah, it's going to be Josh Harm and Tim Ryan on the front row instead, followed by Joel Berkeley and Dylan DeBono on row 2. And then go back to Harry Stewart, Bradley Oldfield, Hayden Veld, Nathan Norman, Cale Davison, Damien Rasmussen, and then Ryan Harris, Jason Nygaard, Lewis Hewitt, Danny Vassell, Jock Goodyear, Gavin Sadler, Clayton Davies, Tyler Bish, and rounding out the field, obviously, will be Alex Bergeron.
All right, so Alex Bergeron starting all the way from the back in this one. That screen that you're seeing at the moment, not quite accurate, does show him as the pole sitter because, well, he is the pole sitter. But, as we've just mentioned, and if you've just joined us for the start of the 40-lap feud, Alex Bergeron has elected to start 20th for a shot at $100 cash if he wins the race. So, it's time to get going, and we're going to be getting going here at SimSpeed as well, because we're looking forward to this race getting going. It's going to be a fun one, the start of a new era. Remember, this is a whole championship, so points are going to matter. It's not just about individual event glory, though that is certainly worth something in Dirt Speedway, but you do have to think about your championship challenge as well.
Yeah, you most certainly do, with obviously 12 rounds, points on offer, it's as well as cash if you're lucky at the first. So yeah, it's going to be all about just putting in the consistent results and just banking those points every single week so that you don't end up on the back foot later in the season.
Yes, indeed. Just a couple more laps to go before we start. Alex Bergeron moves to the back of the field as we speak, and he will assume 20th position, and the drivers will assume their formation. Looking forward to this one getting going. It's going to be Tim Ryan and Josh Harm on that front row. Two guys that we know have a huge amount of talent underneath their bonnet. Tim Ryan just getting black flags cleared there by the administrators, because we do have to trick the sim a little bit to get these grid positions to work the way we want them to. But that has been sorted out perfectly, and we'll also have the lap counter up in the top left for you as well. It's almost time for this grid to get going. A little bit of a test start there from Tim Ryan, I believe, just moving on ahead of the field for a second, but we'll be waiting to see how they form back up here. Now, the big question on my mind as we prepare to go green for this one, the groove. That groove. I cannot believe how slick it's gotten all the way around this circuit. We'll find out here in the 40-lap feud how things are going to stack up. Green flag racing is here. Josh Harm holding on to that lead just from Tim Ryan, but how is the top going to work? It's a bit of a better run down the back stretch where there's a bit of extra moist dirt, but it's going to be Tim Ryan leading on lap 1. Joel Berkeley really putting the pressure here on Josh Harm, trying to follow him through as Harry Stewart.
Yeah, top side seems to be showing that it's got a lot of pace at the moment. Oldfield in there as well, getting in there, but at the moment Stewart really starting to put pressure on, as well as Havenfeld, and there's a lot of cars going 2 and 3 wide further back in the field, but everybody seems to be clean for the most part, and everybody pretty racy at the front as well between Tim Ryan and Joel Berkeley.
Yeah, Joel just tried the slide job there on Tim Ryan, had a good run down the straight. They're actually keeping each other quite honest, but Ryan holds on to the lead for now as there's jostling back in the pack. The battle for third, Harry Stewart, Josh Harmon, Brad Oldfield, Hayden Veld in the midst of that as well. Right behind them there is a, oh goodness me, we've had a spinner. Yeah, and oh my goodness,
Berkeley's
that's
over.
Berkeley. Yeah, that's the reason for the caution there. Joel Berkeley getting turned around and turned over too. And it looks like he did it all on his own. Just got caught up on the berm and did the old skateboard grind.
Yeah, again, risk versus reward, 40 laps. You probably didn't want to be doing that on lap 7, and unfortunately the risk did not pay off, unfortunately, for Berkeley. So unfortunate start to the series for him, but showed plenty of good pace and seems to still be drawing along. So might just be lucky enough here.
Yeah, Motum Simulation Replay, what happened to him? He got absolutely collected by the rest of the field too, which wouldn't have helped his race any. It looks like he is missing a front wing out of all of that. So the car will be a little bit tighter, but he can fix that up to a point. Oh, that's no good for Dylan DeBono, stuck up on the berm as well. That's right at the exit of turn 4. Not easy for that to happen under caution, and Bergeron in car 12 is in 12th. So Bergeron managing to make some tracks already in the 40-lap feud.
Yeah, he's done a really, really good job to make up a number of positions and managed to avoid the carnage that was going on in that big mid-pack, with cars going 2 and 3 wide, if not 4 wide at some point. So yeah, we'll see if he can gain still a lot of laps to go. We're not even, well, just over 30 laps in, so it's really going to be interesting to see how far we can go.
Yes, indeed. Well, the drivers forming back up here under the direction of ODSE Race Control. Tim Ryan currently in the lead, but Harry Stewart staying with him here. Green flag flies once again. We are racing. Tim Ryan holding on nicely to that lead. A little bit of contact there for Harry Stewart, and that has backed up the entire half of the field there that tried to take the low line. Stewart is now right on the back foot. And a little bit of contact up the top. The number 1 of Jock Goodyear almost getting onto the berm, but oh my goodness, right in the middle of a pile-up. Big concertina. It looked like Dylan DeBono was involved in that as well. Goodyear upside down in the midst of all of that. Big shame for the real-life dirt racer from Tasmania. Motum Simulation replay then of what happened here back in the pack, and Goodyear, he was working his way through the field, having to fight in the back half of it, but you'll see what happens here when they come into turn 4. A little bit of contact there, just slows him up on that really low grip packed clay, and then the OPR car just gets in front, and that was all she wrote for Jock Goodyear.
Yeah, simple mistake, just riding it right rear as the guy in front and put him on the back foot. So unfortunate for Jock there, but regardless, again, showed some solid pace, so see what he can possibly bring for the rest of the series.
In the midst of all of that, Alex Bergeron has managed to move up into 8th, so his climb to the top and to $100 cash is certainly on its way. It's a good run from him so far.
Yeah, it most certainly is. He's well inside that top 10, and there's only been 10 laps run, so really, really on for a good solid result here, and pretty much on target to hit that top, well, get to the front of the field. So we'll see what he can do with the number of laps we've got.
Yes, indeed. Well, gearing up once again for a restart. No pace truck because these cautions are directly admin controlled here in this session. Oh, there is a pace truck. My apologies. I just had a complete brain fade there. Wouldn't be a SimSpeed broadcast without that. We're going green once again. Tim Ryan with an excellent start. It has to be said. Bradley Oldfield fighting hard with Hayden Veld, who's really staking a claim for a podium position here. Hayden has managed to get himself right up into contention for this one.
Actually, had some really good pace tonight, has Hayden, and that recent alliance that Illusion had not too long ago with some dirt drivers seems to be paying off really, really well for him. But at the moment, look who's in that top 5. It's Bergeron, and he's coming quick.
Yeah, my goodness, Bergeron really getting on the back of this, and Josh Harm mired in all of this as well. He's not having a great time, but Bergeron right onto the back of that top 5 here and looking for a top 4 as well, because he is catching up to Hayden Veld. You see that amount of pace that Bergeron has in that number 12. It's absolutely insane. Great exit, and just in time for another caution. And I'm sure we'll get a replay very soon to see what the cause of that was. It was the 57 of Ryan Harris for Slick Sim Sport. And we'll take a quick look. Thanks, of course, to Modem Simulation for supporting us with our replays. See what happened to Ryan here. Riding the top, as seems to be the case for many guys in this field, but trying for that inside, trying for the slide job, and just went in too hard. Way too hard. Oh!
Looked, who was it? It was Clayton Davies when he sort of came back on, and seems odd that would cause the caution since he's actually not even on the racetrack. So, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, very interesting. We'll have to wait and see what the cause of that is, but you see how little grip there is on that groove. Ryan Harris just chucked it in there, hoping that there would be grip, and there was none. So he's going to have to go towards the back of the field at the start when we get back racing. So Tim Ryan is still your race leader. Bradley Oldfield is currently in second place, but Harry Stewart still in third place, and Alex Bergeron just making it into fourth before the caution came out. Look out for him when we go green flag running next.
Yeah, most certainly. Bergeron's going to be a man on a mission to the front of the field and try and get as close as he can to Tim Ryan before throwing a move on him. So we'll see what he can do off this restart and whether anybody else can do anything off this restart. Hewitt's done a really good job to get up to where he is, but green flag in there and we're underway.
We are underway, and Tim Ryan making that line work beautifully on the restarts. He's doing everything he needs to do to secure that lead. Bergeron looking for a line, and he's currently on the inside there of Oldfield, looking to get it done, but not quite yet. You can see a lot of people struggling for grip here. Cornering speeds are going to be way down, even with those ginormous wings helping the drivers around the corners. Lewis Hewitt trying his best to stay in touch here with the top 4, scything it down the outside of Bergeron there, and just setting him off and getting past Hayden Veld in the process. So both Hewitt and Bergeron fighting for a podium here. Getting past Oldfield is Bergeron, and now Hewitt. So this is going to be a great fight here for the top 3 if Hewitt can manage to get back, because he's lost a bit of momentum here.
He certainly has, but Bergeron's getting a massive run out of turn 2 on the bottom.
Oh,
it's like
Harry Stewart.
big as Stewart's up.
And that is the caution. Stewart only just off the racing surface, but a little bit too close to get off safely. So we'll have to wait and see how that happened. We'll see if he did this all on his lonesome. Stewart, another one of the drivers that's trying to work the top, but it looks like it's a losing battle amongst a lot of these guys. You have to get it so precise, and he just pushed a little bit too far, right rear in the air. And of course, there's no grip in thin air, is there?
No, there isn't, and there also isn't when the car's bottomed out and sliding on metal rails. So, yeah,
Yes.
really unfortunately. He was actually very lucky that he harder than he did, so might be okay, might have just tweaked the front suspension or rear suspension, but don't think he did, as it wasn't that big of a hit. So might have just got away with that one and could have been a lot worse.
Well, we'll be coming up to half race distance pretty soon here in the thydesigns 40-lap feud, and it's been quite a profitable first half for Alex Bergeron, taking the thydesigns challenge to start from 20th and get $100 if he wins. Well, he's up into second. It's it seems like it's going to be quite the achievable goal for Alex.
Yeah, most certainly does with the way it's looking at the moment, and being in P2, it would not surprise me if he does manage to somehow pull off a miracle and drive around Tim Ryan in some way, whether it be using that bottom side or that top.
Well, we know that Alex Bergeron and Tim Ryan have battled each other many a time in the past. They know each other very well as competitors. And Tim Ryan has had a lot of experience trying to defend from a charging Alex Bergeron as well. It's going to be a very tough job here for the young Altus Esports driver versus the young Bergeron. But he goes for it as they go green. He's really holding that high line till the very last moment, and that's put Bergeron out in the weeds a little bit because he's just gotten the slide job there by Oldfield. Going to come back at him, but that is a bit of time that Tim Ryan has gained that Bergeron will not want to lose fully.
Yeah, most certainly would, and now he's having to pretty much follow Tim to every single line that he can possibly do just to sort of keep the gap, and he's throwing a slide job through 4 and he's going to get the power down, but Tim's probably going to throw one straight back at him into turn 1 here.
Yeah, well, looks like, bit of contact there. Alex Bergeron into the back of Tim Ryan, and the caution is out, immediately called. I think that might have been a bit of a premature call because Bergeron was able to get back going, but they are pacing once again. We'll see what happened there. Tim Ryan slowing up in turn 2. Looks like just trying to take that inside line a little, getting up to the outside. And once he blocked off Bergeron, there was nowhere for Bergeron to go. So he's lost out a bit due to this, back into 5th place, but he's still got a good amount of race time to go.
Yeah, we certainly do. A lot of laps still remaining, so plenty of time for Bergeron to recover what he lost. But at the moment, Lewis Hewitt's done a really, really good job actually to go from P12, 13 to pretty much all the way to the front of the.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a great run from Lewis Hewitt, starting all the way back in 14th position. That was it's been a rough night for him, hasn't it? He's been up and down. He's been taken out, and he's managed to work himself back up to a competitive position here in the A main. It's all about how the whole night goes in dirt racing. You can't just look at individual heats or individual mains. You have to look at your performance over the whole night and how you ended up at the end of the A main. And I reckon Lewis Hewitt will look back on this and see a couple of things that could have gone differently, but he'll be satisfied with what's happened so far.
Yeah, most certainly will, to be right up the pointy end of the field, especially after having a bit of a rough start and ending up having to go through the alphabet soup. So, yeah, he'll definitely be pleased with the result that may come of tonight if he doesn't end up in an.
Well, we'll see what terrible situations ensue throughout the field as we go green once again. Tim Ryan takes the lead. Alex Bergeron taking second back ever so slightly from Lewis Hewitt, and he is in front, which is all he needs at the moment. And look at the inside line there. Trying to make it work was Bergeron, but just not enough momentum maintained through the mid-corner. It still looks like that very top, if you use it right, has the best edge in this race. The battle, meanwhile, for 4th back is super hot at the moment. Hayden Veld fighting with Josh Harm for 5th and 6th behind Bradley Oldfield. And in the midst of this pack, Danny Vassell, Callum Davison, and Jason Nygaard as well.
Yeah, it's a big scrap for these top 5 positions. About 6 odd cars, 5 to 6 cars who are all within this little pack. Get some positions, including Berkeley, who's recovering from that damage early on, and as well as Harry Stewart after having that off. So number of drivers really starting to come through the field after ending up with incidents. But regardless, it's a really, really good race at the moment between likes of Lewis Hewitt and Alex Bergeron, who's managed to get on by Hewitt.
Yeah, Bergeron using an interesting set of lines, using the top in 3 and 4, but you'll see down here in 1 and 2, he's going all the way down to the bottom, trying to get that little bit of dirt there, that bright dirt. That is where the grip is. That's how he gets the launch down the front stretch. Coming out of 3 and 4, you have this, oh, hold up, car 22 going a bit slow there. Is that Damian Rasmussen?
Is, but not
Yeah.
quite sure what's happened.
Just going briefly slow there and not having a great time. Oh my goodness, Rasmussen, who I was just looking at, has caused a huge incident here. This could be a caution, but it looks like they are all off the racing surface, so racing continues. But Rasmussen now out of this race, as is the other driver that was involved in that. It is 0.3 of a second for the lead between Tim Ryan and Alex Bergeron. That gap would have just extended because Bergeron was not able to get the run out of 2 that he wanted. He's slowing up massively in the mid-corner, and on a track like this, where the higher you go, the faster you go, that's not going to help.
Most certainly it won't, as you're really going to be on the edge as it is up that top side. So you really don't want to go any higher at all, otherwise you're going to end up over the bank and pretty much night done. So it's going to be all about risk versus reward.
Yeah, Harry Stewart trying to make his way through here, but Danny Vassell is giving him a hard time for 7th and 8th position. Quite the fierce battle ensuing between those two, but Vassell, with a very bad run out of 4, gives Stewart the advantage. So now he can look at chasing Hayden Veld, who continues to maintain 6th position. Josh Harmon 5th, Brad Oldfield in 4th. Lewis Hewitt is still in 3rd place, and Tim Ryan is holding a very nice lead at the moment over Alex Bergeron. Those are the positions as they are. And as a matter of fact, we are almost coming up to the dying laps of the race here. Veld and Vassell on for 7th place. They haven't got much time left to sort this out.
Yeah, they certainly don't, with the number of laps counting down. Stewart's really starting to claw and harm a little bit, but at the same time, it's very, very equal between those two.
Yeah, it is quite equal. Josh Harm going all the way down into the grass in 1 and 2, and Stewart and Veld holding that outside berm beautifully at the moment. It's nice and controlled from those two guys, but Josh Harm making sure to use that inside and block it off. Oh, there goes Stewart trying to get past Hayden Veld, and he's managed to get it done very nicely using the Bergeron line.
Yeah, really, that Bergeron line seems to really be quite strong at the moment, although that bottom side is going to really start to wear out at some point. With 4 laps to go, it's really going to be all about trying away from the traffic for the leaders.
Yeah, this is an awkward spot here for Bergeron and Ryan. Bergeron using that outside line, taking advantage of the traffic. He has got a huge run there, and he's going to do the side jump. They make contact, and Ryan is out. The caution immediately comes out, but Tim Ryan will be dirty about that.
Yeah, he will be absolutely filthy that incident happened, and it was just the smallest of touches as well. And I don't think Tim's going to be all that happy at all, especially considering the same thing has happened before on different tracks and different races.
Yeah, well, Alex Bergeron did well to try the slide job there, but unfortunately Ryan maintaining a bit too much momentum on the outside to make it easy for Bergeron. Here's another view of it then. The traffic really helped Bergeron here. He seems to have a knack for siding his way through, but a bit of front-end contact, and once those front wheels were off the ground, there was nothing Ryan could do.
Yeah, there wasn't, unfortunately. It was just a matter of just pretty much just riding with what the car was doing and hoping for the best that you didn't damage the car too much.
Yeah, here's the onboard. You'll see Alex Bergeron go bloop right there, and Ryan into the wall as a result. Tell you what, if that had managed to be completed without contact, it probably would have been one of the best moves I've seen Alex Bergeron make. But c'est la vie. They are now back to 10th and 11th, these two, because looks like Race Control thought the same thing and has given Alex Bergeron a penalty as well. So this makes things especially difficult for him with only a few laps to go when we turn green again.
Yeah, there's
He's not going to get that 100.
Yeah, he's definitely not getting that $100 of hard cold cash. So no way is he going to get through in 3 laps. He'll probably carve up a few cars, probably get back inside the top 10, but there'll be no $100 for Alex Bergeron tonight, unfortunately.
No hundo, and we will point out that since it's within the final 10 laps of the race, the restart for this one is going to be single file. Or is it? It looks like it's still double file for this one. Lewis Hewitt holding on to position 1 on this restart. 3 laps to go then in the 40-lap feud. Hewitt holding on very nicely. Tim Ryan holding on to second. Harry Stewart trying his best to hold on for third here, but Josh Harm getting through. 2 laps to go now. Tim Ryan is not far up enough. Lewis Hewitt just having this. Harry Stewart still trying to protect here from Josh Harm, and it looks like he is getting the run there. And the white flag is going to come out now for Lewis Hewitt, who holds all the lead he needs. He's only got a couple of very harsh turns to go. Don't get up onto that berm, guys. Only 1 lap here in the thydesigns 40-lap feud. Tim Ryan tries to get down the inside and gain a bit of extra momentum, but Lewis Hewitt just has it. And if it weren't for that incident between Tim Ryan and Alex Bergeron, the top 3 would have been very different, but Lewis Hewitt is going to be extremely happy with that.
Yeah, he most certainly will be, especially having ended up on his lid at the start of the night as well. So he'll be absolutely stoked with that. But regardless, really, really good night of racing. And Bergeron ended up getting back to P7 in the end. So decent recovery, but no cash.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Bergeron, but it's amazing how things can turn on their head in the last few moments of a race. That's why we love dirt racing so much. You only get this kind of action here. It is fantastic. So Lewis Hewitt going into the infield for his donuts. Some very sweet, very greasy donuts into victory lane. Beautiful stuff. Great parking job there, Lewis Hewitt. And on that note, we'll go through the results. We won't be able to see them on screen, unfortunately, but we'll still be able to highlight it for you. Lewis Hewitt from 14th to 1st. Callum Davidson from 10th to 2nd there. No, sorry. It was Bradley Oldfield who finished 2nd in the end. And unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be able to go through the results either, because the nature of the session means that the positions are moving around. But one thing is for sure, Lewis Hewitt is your race victor, and that was an excellent thydesigns 40-lap feud, Cam. I want to do it again.
Yeah, certainly want to do it again, that's for sure. It was so entertaining. There was just so much good racing and so much happening. It was awesome.
Certainly was, and we are joined at the moment in the commentary box by our race winner, Lewis Hewitt. Lewis, we're seeing your Slick Sim Sports number 3 there in victory lane, but how does it feel from within the cockpit?
That one feels really good, actually. You know, come from the back of the D. I had to pass a lot of cars, and it's a fortunate win there with Alex and Tim getting together. But yeah, feels really good to win the first round.
Yeah, you had a really tough night in the alphabet and in the heats as well. Wasn't quite going your way. So, what exactly was the issue there? Was it just more to other drivers, or was there a car setup issue that kept getting you?
It was a driver issue. Myself being the driver. Yeah, I went over the edge and got myself into the wall in the heat, and yeah, that made for a hard night. But yeah, it was a good one.
Well, let's just take you through then your A main then, starting in 14th position. What was the racing like, especially as the race wore on? Because by the time we got into the A main, that slick groove covered basically the entire width of the track.
Yeah, it was a really difficult track. That as you can see, it was really slick. Early in the race, it was a lot of 3 wide, 4 wide at times, I think even. So it was just a matter of trying to just pick my way through and not get into too many cars. And yeah. Ended up being the top was the fastest and got up there and was comfortable, and yeah.
Well, it gets your 360 Power Series off to an excellent start, Lewis, and I reckon you'll be looking forward especially to the next few rounds of the championship, coming into it as points leader.
Yeah, definitely. Really excited for the rest of this series. We haven't had a dirt league for a little bit in Australia, and this one's really fun. So big thanks to Bob and Brady for getting this up and running, and excited for the rest of it.
Any other shout outs you want to give for sponsors? Who gets it done for you, Lewis?
Got to thank Slick Sim Sports as always. Big support from them. Down Under Graphics, thydesigns. Thanks to those guys and you guys for the broadcast.
Thank you very much, Lewis Hewitt, your race winner in the thydesigns 40-lap feud. Second place then is going to be Bradley Oldfield, and he has stood by with Cam Dance.
Yeah, Bradley, pretty solid run from you tonight with second. You've got to be pretty happy with that.
I actually got third. I think Tim got second in the end.
Oh, okay. We'll continue anyway. It's going to be a third place then for Brad Oldfield, Cam.
Yeah, most certainly would.
Yeah, no, it was I felt good with the car. Really, I was just I had nothing for the guys in front of me, so I was quite content with just trying to do laps and trying to just be consistent. It's quite a long series, so I'm pretty happy to just sit back for now.
Well, you seem to have quite a bit of pace early on with around those who were at the front of the field. Did you have any concerns as to possibly back at all, or with obviously the slicker track, or did you feel relatively comfortable the whole time?
It was a difficult track. Like if you were caught off guard, you definitely would have been going over the edge. So a lot of the drivers did well to not go over the edge. But I did feel comfortable. But yeah, if I just tried to get a little bit more out of the car, I probably would have just gone over.
Well, with Volusia being at the next round, how much are you looking forward to it? And obviously, with a solid third place position, are you hoping to keep these results going for the rest of the season?
Absolutely, you always got to aim for as best as you can get, really. But I just like to thank everyone back at the team, United Team Sports, Travis for helping spot, 87 Creative, just everyone who really helped. Hey, good.
Well, there you have it, Reese. Third place finisher, with pretty happy with his results. So, standing by with the second place finisher of Tim.
Howdy,
Yes.
boys.
G'day, Tim. We do apologise for the brief mix-up there, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen,
fun.
but we do have our second place man in the box with us now, Tim Ryan, and that was quite an adventure, Tim, especially right at the end.
Yeah, it was a really enjoyable race. Loved to get right reared by Alex towards the end there. That was all going the plan, and yeah, just the standard really. No, it was, it was a good start. It's just been pretty easy then towards the end as well. Alex choked and hit the inside grass and fell back, so I was just counting down the laps and being patient through lap traffic, and then he started the clutch at straws and just sent a big bomb, take out the leader. Really, isn't that what you saw?
Well, yeah, it is an interpretation of what we saw, for sure. But yeah, that's certainly going to sting for you, Tim. But a second place in the end, getting your ODSE 360 Power Series off to a good start, nonetheless.
Yeah, it's come second still. Alex fucked himself up more, so good on him. But I'd like to thank the team, Logitech G, Ultra Esports, our partners, Logitech G, Astro Gaming, and yeah, thanks to Bob and Brady for putting on the league. It is a really enjoyable league, and yeah, I hope to run as many as I can. But with university, I'll be struggling to make as many as I would like. But yeah, just enjoy running in them, especially get right reared. An hour and a half into it.
All right, so
Cheers,
an
boys.
unhappy Tim Ryan here in the commentary box, but we thank him for joining us, and we do apologise for the slight bit of colourful language earlier. Tim Ryan, your second place finisher. And that brings to an end proceedings for tonight, the first round of the ODSE 360 Power Series, Cam. This thydesigns 40-lap feud absolutely turned it on.
Absolutely did, all night long, even with what was an absolutely might as well been an asphalt track actually in the end. But yeah, it was really, really good racing all night long. Plenty of battles going on, plenty of action, plenty of drama as well. So yeah, looking forward to Volusia and the rest of the season.
Yes, indeed. The next round is at Volusia next week, and we hope that you can join us for that here on the iRacing Esports Network. And now is the time that we say our goodbyes here at SimSpeed TV. We want to give a big thanks to Oceanic Dirt Sim Events and to thydesigns as well for sponsoring this round and for putting all of this together. It's been a fantastic run here, and a big congratulations to Lewis Hewitt for taking victory tonight. Commiserations to Tim Ryan and to Alex Bergeron as well, though I don't think Tim Ryan will be sending many commiserations Bergeron's way. My name is Reese Gardner. Cam Dance joined me in the commentary box tonight. And from all of us here at SimSpeed TV on the iRacing Esports Network, it's bye for now. See you this time next week.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my god!
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god! God, what?